Today is Monday, October 31st. What to know about the attack against House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's husband, from what's known about the suspect to several lawmakers' reactions. And we'll tell you about the two countries each dealing with their own deadly disasters. Plus, what new data shows about America's flu season this year. Elon Musk revealed one new plan for Twitter after he took over. And did you notice anything different when you bought Halloween candy this year? How the price and size of those sweet treats have changed. Those stories and more next. And as a Halloween treat, we are giving you an ad-free experience in today's episode. Welcome to The Newsworthy. All the day's news in around 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. I'm Erica Mandy. Thanks so much for being here. You ready? Let's do this. The husband of U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is recovering in the hospital. A home intruder attacked him. Paul Pelosi is 82 years old. Reports say he needed surgery for a skull fracture and serious injuries to his right arm and hands. Thankfully, doctors expect him to make a full recovery. Police say the attacker used a hammer early Friday morning at the Pelosi San Francisco home. The AP reports he had zip ties with him when he was arrested, and police have now confirmed the intruder was yelling, quote, "Where is Nancy?" Well, Nancy Pelosi was away in Washington, D.C. at the time. She has since flown back to be with her husband. Police said they arrived on scene while the attack was still going on and arrested the suspect, David DePop. Investigators confirmed the attack was targeted toward the Pelosi family and was intentional, but they have not yet said a motive beyond that. The suspect's presence online is filled with political controversies. More recently, for example, DePop questioned the results of the 2020 election and spread QAnon conspiracy theories. Both Democrat and Republican leaders quickly condemned the vicious attack. Former Vice President Mike Pence and Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, for example, both condemned the attack and wished Pelosi a quick recovery. Former President Trump called it a terrible thing and also tried to link the attack to crime in U.S. cities. Some Democrats tried to link the attack to certain Republicans' rhetoric in recent years. President Biden said enough is enough as he spoke about the rise in political violence. Threats to public officials are at an all-time high. The Capitol Police Chief sent a memo to lawmakers that the attack is a, quote, somber reminder of threats elected officials and their families face in 2022. Nancy Pelosi did release a statement. She said her and her family are left heartbroken and traumatized. She thanked emergency responders as well as those in Congress sending their well wishes. Prosecutors are expected to announce charges against the suspect today, and they'll likely include attempted murder. He's then set to be in court tomorrow. Halloween celebration in South Korea has become one of the country's most deadly disasters. At least 153 people were killed, and more than 130 others were injured during a stampede. The victims were taking part in a large outdoor celebration near the capital of Seoul with around 100,000 others. It's not clear what caused it, but at some point during the party, several hundred people in the crowd got trapped down a narrow alley. 2 American citizens are among the dead. South Korea's president is now calling for a full review of the safety plans at the festivity sites. Meanwhile, over in India, one of the worst accidents in that country in the past decade, a busy pedestrian suspension bridge collapsed, sending hundreds of people into the river below and leaving at least 132 dead. With many people still missing, the death toll is expected to rise. Local authorities are still trying to get to the bottom of what caused the bridge to collapse, but overcrowding may have played a part. The bridge was a popular tourist destination and was much busier than usual because of the Diwali holiday festival. Authorities say it recently underwent repairs and actually just reopened a few days ago. A critically important deal to provide Ukrainian grain to desperate countries around the world is on the verge of collapse. Russia just pulled out of this agreement. The move could lead to global food shortages and put millions of people at risk of starvation in vulnerable parts of Africa and Asia. President Biden criticized Russia, calling Russia's decision outrageous and something that would lead to the deaths of innocent people. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken accused Russia of weaponizing food. The grain deal between Ukraine and Russia allowed the safe passage of millions of tons of grain and other agricultural products, since Ukraine is one of the world's top exporters of wheat, sunflower oil, and more. Despite these problems, the United Nations, along with the countries of Turkey and Ukraine, are pushing forward without Russia's approval to try and get the grain moving. Brazil is getting a new president. In a very close race, Brazilian voters narrowly chose leftist former president Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva over current president Jair Bolsonaro and his far-right politics. As the New York Times says, it was a stunning political revival for da Silva, who went from the presidency to prison and back. Da Silva was Brazil's president from 2003 to 2010 and spent 19 months in prison for corruption and money laundering. As for the ousted President Bolsonaro, he was often compared to former U.S. President Donald Trump because of their similar styles and rhetoric. Bolsonaro's loss is especially historical. It's the first time since Brazil became a democracy in 1985 that a sitting president has failed to win re-election. The official inauguration of Da Silva is scheduled to take place on New Year's Day, January 1st. The two men wrongfully convicted of killing civil rights leader Malcolm X just found out how much they're going to be compensated. New York City and the state of New York have agreed to pay them $36 million. It's compensation for the decades Muhammad Aziz and Khalil Islam spent mistakenly locked behind bars for the 1965 assassination of Malcolm X. Aziz is now 84 years old. Islam died in 2009, so his family will receive his payment. His family said he never stopped trying to clear his name. The two had always claimed their innocence. Aziz and Islam were released on parole back in the 80s, but they weren't fully exonerated until just last year. The break in their cases came when prosecutors found new evidence that witnesses in the case were intimidated and other evidence was buried. The $36 million is expected to be split equally. So instead of a sponsor today, just a quick note to say thank you so much for listening. And if you are interested in getting an ad-free experience every day and supporting the work we do here daily, you can become a Newsworthy Insider at thenewsworthy.com/insider. Get a 7-day free trial anytime. We are using a new software provider that also allows for you to ask me anything, and I'll occasionally do an episode to answer your questions. Again, that's thenewsworthy.com/insider. Thank you so much again for all of your support. Flu season appears to be coming to the U.S. early this season. Typically, there's not enough data for the CDC to issue estimates about it this early on. But that's not the case this year. New data from the CDC says hospitalizations for the flu for this early in the fall are higher than they have been in more than a decade. Right now, the flu is most active in the south central and southeastern parts of the U.S., as well as parts of the eastern seaboard. Some think this could be a sign that it'll be a very bad flu season as cases spread, but the head of the CDC's flu division said it's impossible to predict. Still, flu in the southern hemisphere, which is sometimes a predictor of how it could be for us, showed that while it was active, it wasn't necessarily severe. The overall impact is being rated as low to moderate, which is a good thing because on top of flu season starting earlier, there's also been an increase in hospitalizations for RSV. That's a respiratory virus found most often in children. All of this as the holidays are fast approaching and people will be getting together a lot more. The CDC recommends, as it does every year, to get your annual flu shot sooner rather than later. The newest owner of Twitter announced one major change coming to the social media platform. Elon Musk said the company will form a content moderation council. The council will reportedly be dealing with things like account reinstatements, aka if someone's been kicked off the platform, will they be allowed back on? The biggest account that's been suspended is former President Trump, who was kicked off Twitter after the January 6th attack on the Capitol. Musk says this new council will have widely diverse viewpoints and that no major decisions will be made until the council convenes. So far, no one has been announced for it, though Twitter does already have something called a Trust and Safety Council, which is about 40 experts and groups that give advice on policy. Musk later tweeted that anyone suspended for minor and dubious reasons will be freed from Twitter jail, though it's not really clear yet what he considers to be minor or dubious. The company says its policies toward hate and slurs are still in place. Well, who says Halloween has to be scary? Tonight, someone could get very, very rich. No one hit the jackpot on Saturday night's Powerball drawing, so it's now up to $1 billion. It's only the second time ever in Powerball's 30-year history that the jackpot has hit the $1 billion mark. It's been almost 3 months exactly since all the numbers plus the Powerball was last hit. There's 37 drawings in a row without a jackpot winner. If you bought a ticket this time around, good luck. And with these odds, you'll need it. Well, Halloween is here, and some stores and restaurants are offering some scary good deals to celebrate. For example, Wendy's is offering a free junior bacon cheeseburger with any purchase. Baskin-Robbins will give you 31% off a scoop of ice cream. Del Taco is handing out a free taco if you spend $3. And if you're dressed up on Halloween night at Chipotle, you can get an entree for just $6. Veggie Grill will offer buy one, get one all day when you're in costume. Stop by Krispy Kreme in your costume for a free donut of your choice. And for even more sugar, a free scoop or cone of ice cream at Haagen-Dazs for customers dressed up on Halloween. And the list goes on. Happy Halloween. Well, that's it for the main news. So now it's time for Money Monday, when we talk about one interesting money-related news story. Today, we are talking about the cost of celebrating Halloween. As you might have guessed, it's gotten more expensive. The latest inflation numbers show Halloween candy overall is up 13% since 2021. That works out to be an extra $2 or so for that big bag of candy. Although maybe it isn't as big as you remember. The Washington Post reports there's likely less candy in there this year. Hershey's dark chocolate kisses, for example, are a couple of ounces lighter. A simple 2-pack of Reese's peanut butter cups are a little lighter as well. And so-called shrinkflation is said to be at least partly to blame. That's when manufacturers shrink the size of the product instead of raising the price. But that might not be the only reason. Candy companies say it's consumer-driven, meaning customers want smaller portions and fewer calories. The National Confectioners Association, a candy and gum trade group, reported last month that 85% of chocolate and candy sold today comes in packaging that has 200 calories or fewer per pack. Regardless of the rising prices or shrinking sizes, plenty of people are still looking to greet trick-or-treaters this year. The National Retail Federation estimates we'll spend about $3.1 billion on candy this Halloween season, slightly more than last season. All right, thank you so much for listening today and every day. If you get value out of the show, please be sure to share it with a friend. Or again, consider supporting us monthly by signing up to become an insider at thenewsworthy.com/insider. We'll be back with much more news to know tomorrow. For now, have a great day and happy Halloween.